Tuesday Drive.
Now, with Friday coming up, have you begun to organise your evening meal? Are you a person or a family that eats fish on Friday? Or, of course, with some very warm weather coming up this weekend into the high 30s, will you be heading to one of our local beaches and stopping by one of our many fish and chip shops to enjoy the humble beachside meal? Now, let me ask you this question, though. Would you reconsider your choice of fish if you knew that it potentially was meat from an endangered species? The Australian Marine Conservation Society is encouraging seafood lovers to take the pledge to give flake a break. And joining me is shark scientist Dr. Leonardo Guida, who is behind a very comprehensive report to educate more of us. Welcome to the program.
G'day, thanks for having me on.
No, it's been a pleasure. Now, look, I'm not someone that eats a lot of seafood, but if I do go to the local takeaway shop and see flake, it's because it's something I know. I know the taste, I know the texture, I know what it's going to be like. So why are people being urged to give flake a break?
We're encouraging Aussies to give flake a break because they could be eating an endangered shark. And the way we know this is because there are quirks in our national environment law that actually allow the harvest of some endangered species of fish, and amongst those include the critically endangered school shark and the critically endangered scalloped hammerhead shark. What compounds this is that when it comes to seafood labelling, there's no legal obligation to actually call shark meat for what species it is. So we use this catch-all term that's been around since the 1920s called flake. Technically speaking,
now, unfortunately, your phone's gone very, very quiet on us there. So what we might do is just play a little bit of an important message from the Australian government just in regards to the coronavirus and what we can do to help stop the spread. We'll just see if we can get a better connection there.
To help stop the spread of viruses like flu and coronavirus, good hygiene is essential. That starts with washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Whenever you cough, sneeze, or blow your nose, prepare food or eat, care for someone sick, touch your face, or use the toilet. Together, we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. Visit health.gov.au to learn more. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Wonderful. I believe we do have Dr. Guida back with us. Now, of course, we were just talking about flake and the fact that it's more of a general term for shark. Doctor, what is flake exactly, or what should flake be?
So according to the Australian Fish Name Standard, flake should only refer to gummy shark.
Right.
Unfortunately, this standard, it's a voluntary practice. So because the term flake's been used since the 1920s or thereabouts, Aussies probably have just accepted and haven't really questioned it much. So we want to start this conversation again. And when you go down to the local fish and chippy, you can use our Good Fish app at goodfish.org.au to help you choose a sustainable alternative. Have a chat with your fishmonger. They've probably got one on offer. And ask some important questions like, what species do you have available? Where does it come from? And that way there, you're not only supporting your local fish and chippy, but you're also supporting fishers out there who are operating sustainably. And in the meantime, we're looking after our endangered sharks and keeping our oceans healthy for the future.
Now, if all our local fish and chip shop owners across our region, for example, are going to do the right thing, is this going to raise the cost of the very popular beachside lunch or snack that we've all become so accustomed to?
What we do know is that through a range of market surveys, and funnily enough, it's not just with seafood products either, but with seafood it's the same. And that is Australians are willing to or want to purchase products that are ethically and environmentally sound, and as a result are willing to pay a little bit more for it. I'm unfortunately not an economist as such, but like with most things, we want to provide consumers with the best available products at an affordable price. So I would encourage consumers to think about their options. Ultimately, the choice is theirs. But it speaks more broadly to the fact that we can have sustainable products, and increasing awareness is the way to get that.
Now, because we don't want to discriminate against our very hard-working local fish and chip shop owners across, let's say, the Shoalhaven or the Illawarra, for example. But so, what steps can they take to make sure that they're putting the right fish out there to the consumer?
Yeah, sure. Look, my family comes from a hospitality background. and especially with small business, often you don't necessarily have the time to chase up where exactly your product comes from, go through all the paperwork and find out who it comes from, what species it is. You take it as trust that you are getting what you order. So to ameliorate that, what we would like, or what we offer, is to actually contact us at AMCS through the Good Fish program at goodfish.org.au. And we've got a team that can help you assist and provide information on the species on offer and where you can source them, and provide just that extra level of information, because there are ways to source local fish that, again, help boost the local economy, help boost the local community, and support business and the ocean at the same time. It is entirely possible. It's just going to admittedly require effort from all of us.
Now, what type of fish are you encouraging us to eat?
So there's a range of sustainable options. Some popular ones you'll often find in fish and chip shops are King George whiting. There's also farmed barramundi, which is widely accessible. In New South Wales, the dusky flathead from New South Wales is greenlisted in our Sustainable Seafood Guide. So again, if you take the app with you, there's a range of fish in there you can search for. And again, we'd encourage that conversation with your local fish and chippy, because we also found that fish and chip shops often do sell sustainable alternatives. And it's a way fish and chip shops can also have a point of difference and offer varying varieties of fish that attract other people who are interested in trying new things.
Now, I don't know if you can answer this question, Doctor, but I'm not a huge seafood lover. But when I go to the fish and chip shop, but as I mentioned at the start of my introduction, I usually go for the flake, because I'm used to it and I like the texture, and it doesn't really have that seafood taste. With these alternatives that you're offering, do you know if they are of similar taste and texture to the flake that we sort of know and love?
Flake is quite a unique texture and taste. There's no denying that. But I love my food. I really enjoy seafood as well. And I also like trying new things and cooking things differently and kind of treating it as a bit of an adventure. So there are creative ways that we can treat fish. And again, we're able to help you with that at Good Fish too. We've got a range of chefs on board that also think of creative ways of dealing with fish. So there are different ways of doing things. It's just as what we're trying to do is raise that awareness, not just from an environmental perspective, but also, hey, we can do things a bit differently, even to the extent of how we prepare our fish and how we offer it. So I would encourage everyone to consider all these options. It is ultimately a person's choice. We're just offering potential solutions so that we can ensure that our oceans are healthy and that we can fish into the future and look after everyone, from the person on the boat to the person in the shop.
Well, maybe if you're listening at the moment, you're a local fish and chip shop owner, or perhaps you're a local fishmonger, or even just a general fisherman, maybe you can give me a call, 44221045, and let me know what the dusky flathead's like, or even the farmed barramundi. Now, Dr. Guida, I'm interested to know, in regards to, on your research, how many species are being overfished?
So when we look at Australian species, the latest research shows, so I'm just checking out the numbers in front of me. Currently, when it comes to sharks, there's 6 species of sharks that are officially declared as declining, and there are 18 that are currently overfished. So of those 6 that are declining, you're looking at the tiger shark, which can also be caught and sold as meat, funnily enough. And if you look at species that are being overfished, you're looking at the school shark and also the scalloped hammerhead, as I mentioned earlier. So whilst relative to the rest of the world, Australia is pretty good with how it manages its fisheries. When we drill down and look into our backyard, there are some significant problems there that we need to address, and this is one of them. The fact that legally we still can harvest endangered shark species and sell them, and then on top of that, not necessarily have to call them for what they are. So we want to improve our fishing practices. We ultimately want to ensure that retailers can confidently sell a fish for what it is. And in the meantime, we ask everyone to give Flake a break, spread the word, have a chat with your local fish and chippy or even your local fisher, encourage that conversation, create that noise so that we're driving for this to happen sooner rather than later.
It sounds almost like it comes down to the labelling laws as well, doesn't it? That seems to be quite relaxed.
It is. Admittedly, the labelling laws are a big component of it. But like anyone will tell you, changing laws can take considerable time. And this is time that some of our most endangered species really, really need. So whilst we do work on the seafood labelling laws, it really is important that we support sustainable fishing practices. And by giving flake a break, we're signalling that, look, we need to fish better. We need to make sure that the sharks, when they're caught in as best condition as possible and released alive so that they increase their chance of survival. And basically this means that when we look after our endangered sharks, we're looking after our oceans in the sense that as apex predators, they keep a food web in check. When we keep the food web in check, we do have our healthy fish stocks that we can then enjoy. So we're looking after sharks, we're looking after our oceans. That ultimately services not only our needs, but is also important to our health too.
Well, Dr. Guida, thank you so much for having a chat with us this afternoon on the program. And like I said, it's a wonderful initiative. Thank you very much.
No worries, my pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers.
That was Dr. Leonardo Guida, a shark scientist from the Australian Marine Conservation Society. And if you're interested in finding out more, you can head to goodfish.org.au. And as you heard Dr. Guida mention, there's also an app as well. And look, if you're running a local fish and chip shop here in the Shellhaven, as I mentioned, and you're listening, I'd love to hear from you. Perhaps you're fully across the vulnerability of our endangered sharks and already using sustainable fish in your shop. I wonder if it's had an effect on your business. Has it been easy to source the meat that you're after? Send me an SMS, 0468441045. That's 0468441045, or give me a call, 4422 1045. But now to the latest from Keith Urban with Pink, who are sitting at number 34 on the charts and up one from last week.
This is Tuesday Drive.